Hello everyone, my name is Ann Marie Beale, Minister of Unity Church of the Cumberlands in Cookeville, Tennessee. My husband and I own an Alexa, an artificial intelligence device. So one day I said to Alexa, "Can you write my Sunday message for me?" And she said to me, "Sorry, I don't know that." Well, you can't blame a minister for trying, can you? People often ask me, how do I get my ideas for my message? What am I going to talk about every Sunday? And they just come to me in many different ways. It might be something someone says, something I see on the television or hear on the radio, something in a book. Whenever I hear it, I just know, okay, that's it. That's what I'm going to talk about this Sunday. And this week I was listening to Father Richard Rohr and one of his meditations, and he talked about how most of us just live on the surface of life rather than going deeper. And it got me thinking, well, what are the different ways that we can go deeper? And everyone would have a different answer for that. There's never any one correct answer for all. I thought, to me, it was, well, your spiritual practice takes you deeper. I asked Michael, and he said, it's extending loving service to each other. Others might say it's reading and understanding the old legends and stories and sacred scriptures and going into the deeper meaning of them. So today I decided to pick one of those ancient legends, the search for the Holy Grail. It's universal. And there are so many stories of it told in so many different ways. Stories of Grail knights searching for the Holy Grail. And there are three main interpretations of this story. The traditional Christian literal interpretation is that they're searching for the cup of Christ, the cup that Jesus used during the Last Supper. And people search all over looking for this cup. Tradition says it was taken to France by Joseph of Arimathea along with Mary Magdalene. Which brings us to the second interpretation, and that is that Mary Magdalene was the vessel of the Christ. That she carried the seed in her womb of the bloodline of Jesus, and that they were married and had children. And there's a whole history of tracing that bloodline. Fascinating history. But the third is a very deeper and symbolic interpretation that we all have to come to, no matter what you believe it is, that we all eventually come to. And that is, we are all the vessel of the Christ. We are all expressions and extension of the divine. So ultimately, the search for the Holy Grail is our own awakening to the Christ consciousness of ourselves. Now, the universal story is that there is meaning in the journey of life. Our quest is our life itself and the journeys we were on. And I'd love to go back. Wouldn't you love to go back and tell your younger self some advice? I know I would tell my younger self to enjoy the journey, to enjoy every moment, and not to keep looking ahead. Oh, I can't wait till this happens. I want to be there. I want to do this. I can't wait till I'm that age. But to just enjoy the blessing in every moment, that there's meaning in every moment. Life can take you deeper if you allow it. And as they say in Galatians, don't frustrate the grace of God. If you don't frustrate the grace of God, your life path will take you deeper. Now, in the legends, the Grail Knights all experience challenges. Challenges are part of our life quest. Those who wish they had no challenges, or that their loved ones would have no challenges, aren't being realistic. It is the challenges themselves that force us to go deeper, to awaken to what we would call in unity the 12 powers of the Christ in each of us, and we strengthen those. We become stronger. We can become wiser because of the challenges in life. We expand our life experience. Now, the Knights of the Round Table were committed to 3 different things. They were committed to the quest for the Holy Grail, and they weren't going to stop until they found it. They were committed to chivalry, high ideals, standards, integrity. And they were committed to proving their spiritual worthiness. Now, only 3 of the knights in the legends achieved that goal: Sir Galahad, Sir Percival, and Sir Lancelot. Although Lancelot was only allowed to the door, not to go through the door, because of that whole thing with Guinevere, but that's a message for another time. The tradition of the quest is asking the right question and having the right answer. The questions are, what is the secret of the Grail? And to whom does the Grail serve? As I said, the answer is not really as important as the quest itself, your life journey itself. And the original legend was written, and his name is rather hard to pronounce, I believe it's French, Chrétien de Troyes from the 12th century. And he died before completing that original lesson, but I think that wasn't an accident. I think he stopped intentionally there before completing the story, because we all have to find that ending in ourselves. We all have to complete that story in our own way for ourselves. Percival was the first to discover the right answer. He was with the wounded Fisher King, who was wounded and couldn't heal himself. And the king asked Percival, whom does the Grail serve? And Percival answers, you, my lord. Now, what do we do with that? Well, metaphysically interpreted, it's all happening within us. Our higher self, our Holy Grail, our higher self, our Christ nature, is here to serve us to heal our human woundedness. Our higher self is here to serve us in our life experience, on our soul path, until we are healed, until we awaken to our Christ nature. We've forgotten who we are, and we're stuck in this human form where we experience challenges until we awaken to the mystical knowing, I am the vessel of Christ. Then, as St. Francis would say, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon, and so on, and so on. Jesus gave that clue to finding the Holy Grail. He said there is only one law, the law of love. Love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And so as we extend ourselves in love to each other, in loving service, then we become healed. As we extend love, then we become healed. So let's look at a summary of lessons on the quest for the Holy Grail. We search for the Holy Grail until we find that we are the vessel of Christ. And yes, there are challenges on the quest that force us to strengthen, to become wiser, to go deeper into those 12 powers of the Christ. Every life experience is meaningful if we don't frustrate the grace of God, if we embrace the experiences and go deeper. And finally, knowing that the Holy Grail, your higher self, the Christ in you, is here to serve you on your quest to awakening. Then the question becomes personal. What do you do with the secret of the Holy Grail? Whom do you serve? how do you extend love on your journey? And that's a different answer for each of us. If you want to have some fun this week, I recommend an old movie from 1991. It's called The Fisher King. It's a modern day quest for the Holy Grail, and it stars Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges, so you can imagine how bizarre the movie becomes. But if you stick with it to the end, it shows how each of them are wounded, and each of them came together to heal each other. And a beautiful, even though it gets a bit bizarre, a beautiful story of quest for the Holy Grail. I invite you to share today at 11:30 with us on Zoom some of your experiences on your quest. Now today it's at 11:30, starting next week we'll have these Zoom gatherings at 2 o'clock because we'll be joining together. It's an option to join at church next Sunday at our usual time, 11. And if you're more comfortable watching us on the internet for a while, that's fine. We each have a choice as to how we're going to do this. But meanwhile, the music today, after our love offering blessing, will be by Kelly and Lee Pietmeyer and Gail Luna on the piano. But first, let's do our love offering as we do each Sunday morning. We'll place it in our hands and bless it with our offertory blessings. And I thank all of you who are continuing to support Unity Church of the Cumberlands during this time of social distancing. We appreciate you've kept us alive during this time. So you can support us by going on the internet, unitycookville.org, and clicking on donate. Or you can mail your tithe to 823 East 10th Street, Cookeville, Tennessee, 38501. Now let's bless our love offering together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. And now, here are Kelly and Lee and Gail.